Hello there and welcome to episode number 5 of Applying Tolkien. Yeah, today I'd like to have a look at Smeagol, Gollum. I think we all like Gollum. We like Gollum. And he's there all the way from the beginning of the story before Bilbo finds the ring, when Gollum loses the ring, all the way to the end of Lord of the Rings story when Gollum steals back the ring and falls into the crack of doom. And yeah, Gollum's a very complicated character, Smeagol, so it's probably worth another video, and I'll just touch on a few interesting points that I find, The main inspiration for me for Smeagol and Gollum is the actual major storyline that actually Gollum is the one, or Smeagol is the one at the end who puts the ring into the crack of doom, and Frodo himself says, without Gollum we would not have achieved the task. So going right back to the beginning where Bilbo could have killed Gollum, and Frodo asks Gandalf, why didn't Bilbo just kill Gollum? And Gandalf's answer was that, the pity of Bilbo may save humanity, or may save Middle-earth. And so the idea that life's too much for us to just decide, good and evil is not for us to decide. To make such judgments is not right. We should just make direct judgments concerning our own lives, and and that whole concept about Smeagol as a guide, and the taming of Smeagol. There's a lot of pity in society. There's a lot of pity. We all feel it. The self-importance. Do I think of myself too little or too much? And then there are times where we feel that we deserve more from our world. And it feels like we all have this, each of us have two persons within us, the I and the self. And me is a name. It's it. When we're first born, we're first referred to as, in my case, it is a baby boy. So it's already a thing. It's a creature. And then we get a name. Let's call him Stephen, in my case. And so that's a name, that's me. But the I and the myself are two different parts of me. And I feel that everybody all humans have two parts. One half is the sum total of everything you've ever experienced and everybody you've ever met. The laws that the life out there make up. The laws that it's good to keep by observation and mutual respect to others. And that's your name and your personality, your identity. As you go through life, you leave footsteps, and that's an indentation. So as you go through life, you leave in a passage of time that is an identity to you. And so we have these two sides: the left side that's dedicated to the world outside, and the right side which is dedicated to the world inside, the inner truth, the inner reason, the way you feel. Because I don't feel the way you feel. Maybe if we were together, I feel exactly the same at the same time. But at the same time, the left-hand side, this social side that we all share, our person, our masks, our politeness, our manners, our deviousness, even if it's like a white lie for the benefit of somebody else, or asking nicely, not to upset anybody, all of kind of deception. And this deception is this left-hand side, or this half of the mirror, which is dedicated to the world outside. Language is in that world. Words and letters and symbols and logos and communication. But on the inside, we have life, and that's, I have life, you have life. There's no such thing as the we life in that way, because you can only experience it from your side. So we have these two sides, the right and then what's left. And now if you imagine you've got left and right hands, and you suddenly get your hands mixed over, and your left hand is suddenly serving your right hand, but your right hand is serving another command, then kind of the authority of your own, which is left and right, is disappeared. So in short, we begin to see ourselves as a separate person on the outside than the inside, like Smeagol and Gollum, like my name, me, the me and I. And it seems that the self is the thing that can be affected by the powers of the world, of our society, of all the powers that are given to us and granted to us through the ages, through language and communication, governments, and all of everything else that's Anyway, yeah. So Gollum, yeah, back to Gollum, and I'll probably keep this one shorter. But you see there with Gollum putting S's on everything, like fishes is, or hobbits is. In English, it's a different anomaly in different languages. But in English, if we look at the apostrophe and we look at the S, what that happens to the end of a word, like she is happy, apostrophe, she's happy, or she's running, she's walking, she's driving. So there's an act and there's a state there, a being and a doing with that apostrophe. The apostrophe is, it's a hidden I in there. The apostrophe is also, obviously then you've got no apostrophe, which is in a pluralization, shoes or shoe. I suppose you can't really say she's without an apostrophe because there's no plural for she's. And so the pluralization can generally turn entities into things. In the same way, it's a baby. Until it becomes sexed as a male or female. And at that point, it gets a split personality. The pluralization of words is another interesting one to look at. The way that Gollum actually uses the apostrophe S as well in the with the ring and everything. It also indicates an ownership. Gollum's ring or Frodo's ring. It indicates that ownership. We see on documents like the keeper's vehicle, and it's got an apostrophe, and that apostrophe shows that person that came before the apostrophe is absent. So yeah, I'll leave that little riddle there. But Smeagol is definitely, notice when at the end, when Gollum finally gets the ring, he bites it off Frodo's finger, and Frodo's got then lost 1/10, 1 tithe. Gollum's got the ring, and he's saying about Frodo, it's lost its finger. It's lost its finger. Sort of thing. And then what happens? Yeah. Then he toddles backwards into the Crack of Doom and says, Smeagol's got the precious. So he's always referring to, it's like third person again. So has Gollum got the precious now, or did Smeagol get the precious? But Smeagol, as we know, is the name, the birthright. And as we know, the theme of the ring being a birthday present goes all the way along the line. So it's definitely connected with our what happens at our own birth and the birth certificate, the name that we're given, the number that we're given, this fiction that's created about us as children and given to us so often that we believe that we're that person on the outside. And really, once we begin to just realise this for ourselves, we can then start to break those patterns and start to be so that the two sides of us are more like mirror images, the more symmetrical, the more balanced, so that we're not always falling victim to the trick. Okay, thanks a lot for listening to this disjointed presentation, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheerio.